Hey, it's BOTTLENECK here from Entrepreneurial Mastery. Now, growing up in a family business, right, and I'm Indian, so culturally, being in a family business, growing up means that you're working in the business. And from a young age, I was instilled, I guess, some of these values around trading time for money. Trading time, working in the business, and being yet a pharmacy owner with the thoughts of, you know what, there's surely got to be a different way. There's surely got to be things around freedom. And when I looked at other people and they were working on the business, not necessarily in the business, they were going on lavish holidays, they were having time with their loved ones, I really didn't understand how they had a thriving business and were able to step away from the trenches and still do all the things they loved, but yet had an amazing business behind them. And it wasn't until later on in life when I started really understanding the value of working on your business, taking a bird's eye view and really understanding that you don't have to be in the trenches every day, that my business could actually grow without me. I could build a team that supported me, and I could get out of the trenches and actually enjoy the fruits of my labor of being a pharmacy owner and having an amazing team behind me to back me up and to support me in reaching our goals together. And so what it really asked me was a fundamental question around, if I still worked in the business, what did that mean? Did it mean that my business was dependent on me? And I'll tell you a quick story right now, because one thing that really came to light for me when I realized this is that my wedding, we got married overseas, and we're getting married, and I had my team members phone me up while I was overseas at my wedding and asking me rudimentary questions around things. And I was like, man, there's got to be a better way. I can't do this right now. I'm at my wedding and my team are phoning me up asking me some things. Not to mention, I had some team members deselect while I was away, which was great news in hindsight. Look, you know, you either step up or step out. That's always my motto, right? And they stepped out, which was great. So, but what it made me realize is how dependent my business was on me for being in my business. And one of the biggest things that made me realize is I've got to do things differently. I can't keep doing those sorts of things. And it really validated that, you know, my ego was like, oh, they need me. You know, I need to be in the business. Oh, I'm important. That's all ego. And that was, to be blunt, that's bullshit, right? All it proved to me was that I was a bottleneck in my business. I was literally a bottleneck in my business, either holding my business back or my team back from really growing and excelling and empowering them to grow the business while I'm not physically there. And so I needed to change some things, and I went about doing that. And that's why I created an award-winning business. I created I became an award-winning pharmacist myself, and I changed things up to do that because I needed to change things so I wouldn't be the bottleneck anymore. Now, if this is resonating with you, if you sound like me, right? You know, your team are always calling you for the most rudimentary things. You want to go on holidays, but you can't. Whatever that looks like, you know, comment bottleneck below and I will send you a free guide that award-winning pharmacy owners like myself, like so many others that I know, use to change the game for them. Why? Because I hated it. I couldn't believe it that I was at my wedding. I was at my wedding and I was getting phone calls about absolute crap at my business, you know. And yes, my team were great, but some of them, and like those ones that was stepping out of the business, I couldn't believe, you know, like, yes, she quit. Cool. But I couldn't believe that she picked that time and moment to do it. But obviously, it showed all those cracks in the business as to how the team could adjust, what I needed to do to compensate for that, because they didn't really give me any notice. They just went, yep, cool, here's the moment. I'm stepping out, I'm not stepping up. And I had courageous conversations with that team member previously, which led them to that outcome. And like I said, hey, everything happens for a reason, and I was super grateful for that. But I wasn't grateful for getting interrupted on what was to be, you know, like some of the most amazing times with my family, with my friends, and of course, with my bride-to-be. And so if this sounds like you, and you're just over it, you're just so sick of, you know, that dreaded feeling of wanting to disappear for a week, wanting to disappear for a couple of weeks, a month, whatever it might be, and worrying about, would my pharmacy collapse? You know, what would happen? You know, the boss goes away, the kids come out to play. That old saying, right? Well, comment bottleneck below. Let me send you that free guide. And I assure you, it's going to help change the game for you this year. Because, like I said, don't be like me. Don't wait for that dreaded phone call while you're away. And maybe December proved that to you, right? Like, you couldn't step out of the business, whatever it was. Don't be like me. Comment bottleneck below. Learn from my mistakes. Learn from all the trial and errors that I've done. Take the shortcut. Comment bottleneck below, and I'll send you that free guide that is literally the culmination of a lot of years of trial and error, so you don't have to go through it yourself. Alrighty then. Comment bottleneck below, and I look forward to sending you that guide. Cheers. Bye.